Tigrai was one of the millions to be displaced from Western Tigray at the outset of the war in 2020. Her and her husband, Desta, were displaced from Setit Humura. Their friends tell us Tsaga owned a cafeteria and had stable income until the start of the war in November that forced her and her husband to abandon their home. Months after they arrived, Tsaga learned she was pregnant. She would carry her child to term, but would die 40 days later because owing to lack of food and medication.
Tsaga told me she left all her belongings in Humera when they left. I told her the same had happened to us when we left Zalambisa. She told me she had a stable life in Humera, but here we have nothing to eat. There is nothing to eat. Tsaga starved to death.
I knew Tigrai from back in Setit Humera when she owned and ran her own cafeteria. While she was working on her own cafeteria and her husband owned a barber shop. They had a stable life and income. She gave birth here, she lost a lot of blood, and there wasn't much food or medication. We were able to collect food from neighbors and keep her alive for 40 days, but then she passed away.
Tsaga's husband says it's been difficult to care for his daughter since Tsaga's passing and is having difficulty caring for his daughter as humanitarian assistance remains limited.
We had
a good life, and now we have nothing. What more can I say about this? She lived her daughter. I don't know how to care for the child with nothing.
Tsaga's neighbors tell us they have been doing all they can to care Tsaga's daughter, but fear that they may not be able to do more if aid continues to be withheld and vital services are blocked.
I'm caring for this child because I want to do what I can, but I need help. This child has nothing in the world now.
We have nothing to give to the child. No one has anything to spare. As you can see, she's caring for the child. She uses what little we bring her. That's only enough to keep the child alive. The world has to help us though, for the sake of this little child.
Asmelash Hadush, head of Social Affairs Office in Adigrat, says Tsaga's story is just one of the dozens. He says there are more than 64,000 IDPs in Adigrat, many of whom have received little or no aid since the start of the siege in June of 2021.
We have 4 IDP centers in Adigrat, sheltering 64,645 internal displaced persons. Most are from Western Tigray. The amount of aid that is needed and the amount that is reaching Tigray is unmatched. The humanitarian crisis is beyond our capacity. We fear that many will perish if food and medication is not able to reach Tigray.
For close 1 year now, the people of Tigray have been living under a complete blockade, with the Ethiopian government blocking all commercial routes, food aid, fuel and vital services such as banking and telecommunication. The blockade has led to starvation, with more than 6.5 million people said to be in urgent need of humanitarian assistance. Just 20% of that assistance has been able to reach Tigray since the Ethiopian government declared a humanitarian truce at the end of March.